All right. Welcome to the Weird and Strong podcast, where I'm talking to my weird friends, talking to my strong friends, and talking to my weird and strong friends. I'm Jeremy, and today with a great friend of mine that I've met this year, April Flaten. Welcome,
Hi,
welcome.
thanks for having me.
Let's just get right into it. Um, what makes you weird and strong?
Oh boy. Um oh gosh, I'm feeling drawn to start with the weird part.
Yeah.
Um Weird. I mean, what's weird about me? Where to start? That's a good question. Um well, the first thing that popped in my head is I love Harry Potter, which isn't in itself that weird because Harry Potter is a really enormous thing. That being said, though, I've been able to draw some interesting parallels between like themes in Harry Potter and other types of fandoms
Mm-hmm.
to some into like fitness and strength too. Back in 2020, a couple of friends and I had time to record some episodes of a podcast, and we called it Fandom Fit.
Awesome.
And so I mean, of course we wanted to keep going, but with three people it's hard to organize schedules and whatnot. But we put out a solid 12 episodes. And so like I like to make connections from time to time, like, well, from time to time. That's kind of where my brain goes all the time. Is like, how can I connect, whether it's people or concepts or things like that. So like for example, we did an episode all about dementors.
Mm-hmm.
Dementor, of course, if you're familiar with Harry Potter, are soul sucking beings.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, okay, what are the soul sucking things in our lives, and how can we face our literal dementors in front of us? And
Mm-hmm.
of course, the spell to repel a dementor is expecto patronum, which loosely translates to I expect a guardian, or I call in a guardian,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was really cool. And so you can look at that in so many different ways. You can look at okay, so soul sucking things in our lives. Uh, Anything from something small and annoying like traffic to something bigger and more stressing, or other, larger things like, we could go down a mental health discussion here too. But
Mm-hmm.
um so like what are those, what's behind your expecto patronum spell?
Yeah.
And I mean, you and I talk about, we met in the Enlifted program, so it's like language, words, thoughts, mindset, self-talk is a huge expecto patronum tool that you can
Well, the
use.
soul sucking, Billy stories, any of these
Yes.
big, long, big things that we work up ourselves to. I
Yeah.
think I can't remember if it was in the level one or maybe it was somewhere around that time period of like
Uh-huh.
these things that are soul sucking for us can
Uh-huh.
be like viewed as like a little kid with the monster under the bed. We
Yes.
build it up big, like I'm so terrified to look, I'm so terrified to look, and that like it could be a dragon underneath there, and it gets keep getting bigger and bigger and scarier and scarier until we
Yeah.
turn the light on and look and we go, there's nothing there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Or like I always think about becoming friends with the monster too,
Yeah.
because that so I would put that in the weird category of um
Befriending
like
my demons.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
be friends with them. What if they just want a little bit of like attention or help or friend, or like they're the demon because they're lonely or whatever. um
Or like, are there positive aspects of that you
yeah,
could leverage because these
totally.
are aspects of ourselves,
Uh-huh. Yep.
and like it's there for a reason.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
if we
it's
actually like
there.
use it?
Right, right. um on the note of monsters beneath the bed, are you a fan of Calvin and Hobbes?
Uh, Yes, like I'm
Yeah.
not like I don't know the whole back catalog, but like I've read many a Calvin and Hobbes strip.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I grew up on that, and
yeah.
I pulled it out recently for some reason, but I flipped to a page where Calvin and Hobbes are in bed, and they're Calvin's like, are there any monsters under my bed?" And then the little speech bubbles come out from under his bed, and they're like, "Nope, no, And then he's like, "All right, there better not be, because if there are, then I'm gonna, attack them with a flamethrower." And then Hobbes goes, "You don't have a flamethrower." And then Calvin goes, "Well, if they lie, then I lie." I was like, "Yep, That's another way to deal with them.
Totally. Absolutely.
But yeah. So
Uh,
I like connecting. I'm a kid at heart. I've got a young soul, if you will. And so
mhm,
I like connecting those things like that. If I can find some type of wisdom in something very joyful and connected to something that's really meaningful, I think
mhm.
I like doing that.
Or being able to connect the um, things that are like designed for kids to the real life, like you said,
True.
Harry Potter and fitness. Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yeah.
any other weird things that you want to talk, like, bring to the world?
um let me so again on the note of weird, I've been trying to embrace that part of me a little bit more. I had a breakthrough with a one of my friends does Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a session with her and I had a breakthrough that brought up a number of stories. And so lately I've been story working myself when stuff like that comes up. And then just for listeners out there, I'm essentially doing some self work, some self development work, some therapy type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not specifically therapy, but I'm looking at my story. I'm looking at my demons, if you will, and like working through it and calming myself as I go.
Mm-hmm.
Is in short is that technique.
Yeah.
And long story short, I broke down a barrier for myself that let me see more of myself. And so in doing that, I've been able to express all of those things that I've always wanted to express. So I would do a lot of work from home. I'm in a couple of gyms, but I do a lot of work from home. And I find myself making up little rhymes in my head and and like singing to myself and dancing a little bit more. But then similarly, like when I get in front of classes, I've been doing more of that too.
Yeah.
And I think it's been received pretty well just because I'm
I
having
mean,
fun.
let's how does it make you feel when you do it?
I it makes me feel I can see myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I can see myself, then I can let others see me. And that was another really important reflection or realization that I had recently is that I was like, well, I can see myself doing this. I'm just goofing around and also to be this is another interesting point of like also to be around people that already see you.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'm like comfortable enough to do those things and let myself be seen with those people. So like there's a handful of
Do you
components
find
there.
that when you're in that sort of a situation where they already see you
Uh-huh.
and you're freeing yourself, where there's that moment where they're like, well, of course, like we wanted more of this already,
Yeah.
and it's like you're finally just giving us what we wanted.
Interesting. That's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about that so
Yeah.
far. As I'm around like my partner and my best friend, like they see me, they know me. And the
Mm-hmm.
cool thing about that is that they see parts of me that I don't see yet. And so when I get that reflection, then and this takes practice.
Oh yeah.
Perhaps you've noticed this too. This takes so much practice to be able to do. Um, and that is to when other people reflect certain things to you, i.e., give you a compliment, to
Mm.
be able to say instead of brushing it off, because much of the time it's pretty common to be like people be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I didn't do that much. Stop.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Mm-hmm.
And actually on Sunday I did a there's a place in Minneapolis over here called Lake Harriet Spiritual Community, big shout out.
Okay.
That I went in, they bring me in to do Sunday speakers sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was there last Sunday and there have themes of the month for that. And the theme was positive reflections. And this
All
is some of the
right.
stuff that I was talking about of like what when I'm able to see me, I was able to let others see me. And that becomes expansive. And then similarly, like on your note earlier of like how did that make me feel to show myself? Um it the it's this how people spiral downwards?
Mm-hmm.
Like we can spiral upwards too.
Yeah. 100%.
And that comes in again a practice of reflection and focusing on you know the parts of us that we like.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one of the stories that I told in that Sunday speaker was like, one of my wins lately is that I've started to do my art again. I've started to pull out my art and really enjoy doing it, and like tapping into my creativity was like I let myself do it and not worry about, oh, I don't have time for this, or oh, I should be doing something else, or these things. I just followed a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that felt really good. And as soon as I let go of all of those um soul sucking or heavy thoughts of like I should be doing that, or I don't have time for this, like everything flowed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in a metaphor, it was as though the floodgates opened creativity wise. I started thinking about ideas for not just what I do in my art, but also like creativity for business, for relationships, for things I can, it all opened up.
Yeah.
So
And
I've been, go ahead.
is that a so like I'm assuming that that's a recent rediscovery for you,
Yep.
and like the difference between say like 3 months ago versus today. Do you feel a drastic shift in your ability in that regard?
What I feel, it's really interesting. The shift I feel is more ease,
Mm-hmm.
which I think it's, well, in my experience, it's, there's a lot of messages out there that are like, you have to work hard, you have to
Yeah.
hustle, you have to, like, things are going to be hard. I'm not denying that some things are hard,
Mm-hmm.
and some things can be easy too, and some things can feel smooth and steady and enjoyable. And it's relieving to feel that I can I can do these parts of me. So like there's another realization I had recently, and it was that I can do all the things. I can do all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I had myself pigeonholed into, the thing I have to do for my career is coach.
Yep.
And that's it. I was like, oh, I got to figure out this coaching thing, and I got to keep myself in this box. And if I stray from that, then I can't
Mm-hmm.
stray from that.
Yeah. Or like it gives. Do you feel like the if you strayed from the box and you failed, like everybody would say, "Well, shame on you for getting out of your box."
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a number of different narratives could be formed there. For me, it was just like I was, and so this is another story that I've worked on shedding from my childhood, of like, the way you do things is this path,
Mm-hmm.
and go to school, get a job, have a career, do one thing, blah 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 blah.
Do that
And
until you get into a certain age, then you retire and you do nothing.
that was right. That was the path that I was shown.
Yeah.
And there was, and I thought I was expected to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, but again, it's been over the last really 5 years or so. Um, I've been like kind of nudging away from it, and now I'm like, I don't want to go down that path at all.
Yeah.
I get to create my own path. And again, and so I I I came to the realization of, I get to create my own path. And there's a couple of other things, and I thought I had to create one path
Mm-hmm.
and follow that one path, or perhaps follow a narrow path,
Mm-hmm.
versus widen my path to say, I can do this, I can do that, and I can do that. And so I shed that story of like, I don't have to do one thing. I love coaching. It's
Mm-hmm.
great. I set a goal to get paid for my creativity. And it's a very wide goal right now, and I'm fine with that,
Yeah.
because that, for me right now, that opens up a lot. Like, I'm playing around with it. I'm enjoying doing a podcast of my own.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I've got so many ideas. So anyway,
Well, and that can also be expansive enough to include coaching.
yes,
It does,
absolutely.
coaching doesn't necessarily. The longer I'm in that space as well, the less of it is like sets reps. Here's your bill of health from your physiology. Here's your linear progress of what you've been doing, and it's
Yeah.
more like how can I bring a great relationship to this person that
Yeah.
allows them to actually see the best in themselves to
Mhm.
do what they need to do.
Yeah, exactly. Have you read or listened to Be More Pirate?
Yes, I think I
Yes.
just put
Okay.
it back up on my shelf behind me
Oh,
just this
nice.
morning. Yeah.
Oh, right on. I'm re-listening to it. Um, I that both books, Be More Pirate and then Be
How to become more pirate, I
that's
believe.
one that's the second one.
Yeah.
Yes. um those resonate with me so much
Hmm.
because of a lot of different things. So it's fun to listen to those again and think, how am I being pirate in um whatever I'm doing? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not following a status quo specifically. I'm creating a lot of different things when I have messages that are telling me to do certain things. So yeah, that's fun to listen to, and I'm getting a good amount of motivation back from the Be More Pirate at the
Yeah.
moment.
I mean, I when I was first introduced to those books, I've only read, I believe just Be More Pirate is the only one I have currently.
Cool.
And like for me, it was always a like I came of age in the internet area where it was
Yeah.
ninjas versus pirates. Like that was a thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I was always team pirate. Like I have a pirate ship tattooed on my arm. Like I bought my first pirate flag in Hamburg, Germany in 2003.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
and it's hanging up in my house again.
Nice.
Like I still have it. Yeah, like yeah, I very much identified with a lot of the components that they brought through, and like
Yeah.
that idea of making good trouble. Like
Yes.
I had an experience at my the retreat I just returned from.
Okay.
We were in the middle of some practice work, and
Uh-huh.
I was kind of like, I was not kind of, I was separating myself from the group. I was
Okay.
in my head and really
Uh-huh.
like taking a lot of things in
Uh-huh.
and experiencing the moment. And he comes over and he's like, he does a lot of body work. He's like, is it
Okay.
okay
Got
if
it.
I do a little work on you?
Uh-huh.
We're all just hanging out anyways
Yeah.
as part of the practice. And so he starts doing some things, and he
Uh-huh.
tell me one thing, and I would do the opposite. He's like, oh, we got a little bit of a rebel here.
Ah.
And it was an interesting, because I never really viewed myself that way.
Hmm.
Like I knew some of that about myself, especially
Yeah.
when I tell myself to do something, the inclination to do the opposite is very, very high. And
Really?
so he's like, try this thought experiment for yourself. When you know you have to do something, tell yourself not to do it and see what happens. See how fast you get it done.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah, playing little mind tricks on yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like there's a lot of gold in those books.
Yeah. What other things have you felt particularly rebellious against?
Um, for me, it's usually if anybody tells me like you have to do this, or like you have to, not necessarily in the most like overt way. I'm always going to
Sure.
find the small rebellions, or like
Okay.
I think the current trend is the malicious compliance. If you've
Oh,
heard of this idea of they're like,
I think so.
you're like the like one of the examples I saw is somebody being told that um they can't they can't rent a car when they're traveling, that they have to take train travel, or they can only
Oh,
take a certain type of train, and
okay.
it ends up being longer and costing the company more money, so they continue to do it and take advantage of it.
Uh-huh.
And then the company comes
Huh.
back and they say, well, now this is more expensive, what the hell?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, well, I was doing the right thing for the company and for myself already, and you told me not to, and I'm maliciously complying because you told me this is what to do, even though I know it's the wrong thing to do.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. That's really that's funny. Hey, company, you could use an update on your policies, and
Yeah.
here's why.
Yeah. I think it was one the guy was talking about the route that he took on his like he had like company car,
Uh-huh.
and it was on the eastern seaboard, so toll roads and things like that,
Ah.
where they because the route was longer, the way that he was taking it,
Mhm.
like it was like 15 minutes longer, 10 miles longer, something like that.
Yeah.
They're like, you can't do that. That's too long. You have to take this shorter route that we have from Google Maps or whatever it is. And he's like,
Okay.
it's going to cost more. And they're like, no, it's fine. Just do that one. He's like, all right, well, you guys are paying for the tolls then. And they're like, yeah, whatever. And
Okay.
then it ended up being thousands upon thousands of dollars every month in toll fees that they're like, we have this additional expense now. Where did this come from? And he's like, yeah,
Oh
it's
no.
because you told me to take these toll roads instead of the route that I was normally taking.
Yeah. Ah, that's insane. Oh man, if and so in that on that note, I'm at the part in Be More Pirate where it's like the navies
Mhm.
would be more like corrupt and demeaning and forceful than any of the pirates would ever
Yeah.
be. Like I heard this again and I was like, it blows my mind every time that that Navy, like and this is more over in United Kingdom and whatnot, or
Mhm.
Britain
Yep.
back hundreds of
Great
years ago.
Britain, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Um
Empire.
yes. Where like the government sanctioned or the parliament sanctioned or whatever navies and armies and whatnot would kidnap people
Yeah, they could
to
script them.
yeah, they
You're on
call
the
it
boat. Well, you're stuck here. We're at
that's it.
sea.
And
Here's
we're
your
not
job.
right, and we're not going to pay you, and we're
Yep.
not going to yep. Whereas like there was less of a hierarchy on the they're much less. I mean, there's still like, okay, the cat when pirates, you know, get their treasure,
Mhm.
steal whatever, um the sure the captain and the quarter something whatever, a couple people
The
at top
quartermaster.
get quartermaster. I was gonna say quarter maker. Close.
Close.
um uh sure, they get 4 shares, and then there's someone below that gets 3 shares, and then most of the crew and whatnot maybe get 2 or 1 share, but that's still a much closer like grouping or like distribution of wealth than
Mhm.
anybody else.
Yeah. Where
Um
it's you get the act to survive, and that's what all you get out of this. Is that you
right, right.
work to just not get thrown overboard and drown.
Woof. That is oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
I find myself um wanting to rebel against most of the fitness industry.
Hmm.
Most of it. This is
Yeah.
my soapbox. This is my can I how much can I curse?
We're gonna put an explicit tag because I'm already
Okay.
like holding him back. I'm like, that's not me.
Copy.
Like,
Okay,
yeah,
understood.
let's go full pirate on that.
Okay. So I can curse then?
You can, yes.
Sweet. Okay. My fuck you to the fitness industry is that for so long, and this is an uphill battle that I'm willing to go up, is that it's for so long, it's an industry. So one, it
Mm-hmm.
wants your money.
Mm-hmm.
Two, it's trained us in the complete opposite way that we've learned in the Enlifted method, of like it's trained us on negations, negative self-talk, projections. This person looks better than you, you want to look like this
Yeah.
person, instead of like figuring out what you want for yourself.
Yeah.
um
The no pain, no gain.
oh
The like discipline
no,
equals freedom.
yep,
Show up and just work harder. You didn't
right,
work hard enough yesterday.
yeah, who no rest days, no days off.
Yeah.
I that is and like basic physiology tells us that that's a great way to literally run yourself into the ground.
And actually go the opposite direction of what the person's likely wanting from themselves.
Right.
You
And
you started to
good.
bring this up a little bit ago, and I was like, I could almost feel it because I was like, I wanted to glom onto that right away too.
Yeah.
It's like because it's so much easier. Like, here's the peek behind the curtain, folks, is that it's so much easier to sell just work harder.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to sell a book that tells you of all the extreme stupid things that I did to look or be how I am,
Yeah.
and not actually analyze of like, am I actually happy with where I am right now? Am I actually healthy? If we took blood markers, what would we find out?
Yes.
Like, is this
exactly.
actually a person who is healthy?
Right.
We equate so much the elite
Uh-huh.
athletic portions of fitness
Uh-huh.
as health, and they are so far apart.
Yeah. Yeah. Aesthetics is not
Mm-hmm.
health.
Correct.
Athletics is not health.
Yeah.
If you're looking at that Venn diagram,
Tiny, tiny sliver.
it's a tiny sliver of overlap.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the message that has been jammed down our throats,
Yeah.
into our eyeballs, into the stories in our head.
Well, we created people created entire methodologies based around all of that as well.
Yes.
Of like,
Yeah.
okay, let's take somebody who's in their take a 40-year-old that has kids who has a high stress job, and we're going to tell them that an hour of the highest possible intensity exercise 5 days a week is what they need to be healthy. And it's like that's the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah. But that's the message that not only is given but is now like what everybody thinks they need.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the and and it's again, I'll be on this hill. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
keep walking up this hill because it's something that I really believe in. And like there's a lot of instances where less is more. And then on another note, the you mentioned it just a moment ago, like the industry sells entire programs
Mm-hmm.
based on more is better.
More is just more.
Right, exactly. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
And that's because the more is better framework means that the industry gets more money.
Yes. You can always, well, this didn't work for you. So how about this program? We need to,
Yeah.
well, oh yeah, you did X, Y, and Z, and you also need A, B, and C, and E, F, G, like you need and. So there's
Yeah.
always another upsell.
Right.
And
Right.
also knowing like for us too that we've been in this world for a while,
Yeah.
and the words and story work that we've done, that if people haven't listened to me talk on other podcasts or April on other podcasts, we can get all into that
Yeah.
of these pieces. It's so easy to get into us as humans adding more.
Yeah.
Like it's think about it in the regards to like your sleep.
Yeah.
How easy is it for you to say, I'm going to sleep an extra hour every day? That's like the most terrifying thing for people, because that means I
Yeah.
have to give up 1 hour of something else. I have to subtract an entire hour of something else out of my life.
Yeah.
But it's so much easier to add an hour of stuff when you don't even have the hour. I'll cram it in somehow.
Right. Well, and then on that note too, like if we are scared, or if people are scared to add in more rest,
Mm-hmm.
but they're fine adding in more, because workout is a stress,
It
and like
is.
good stress, bad stress, like I think that's kind of silly to label. I think that is
The
silly to
body
label.
just sees stress. It doesn't
Yeah.
know the
Yeah.
difference.
Nope. Nope.
It doesn't know the difference between running for your life from a lion and running a casual 10K.
Yep. Yep. Just chilling. Yep.
Yeah.
I added in one of the gyms down at my 5 on
Mm-hmm.
one Saturday a few weeks ago. We got done with the workout like 10 minutes before class ended, and so we cleaned up. It was a small class, and I literally just took them through a couple basic stretches, and then
Mm-hmm.
I was like, last 2 minutes, like lay down. I gave them foam rollers and had them. We have the long ones, so I had them lay down on that, like
Yeah.
spine to head, and then just like let body open up. And I was like, just focus on breathing for these last 2 minutes of class. And everybody was like, oh, why do I feel so great right now?
Yeah.
um, but anyway, so like one, more is not better, more is more, and better is better.
Mm-hmm.
And two, yeah, subtract things from your life
Mm-hmm.
that aren't working anymore. I did one of my podcasts. So my my podcast is called 5 Minutes of Awesome. And I've got three little segments that I do. I've got a 5 minute fuck yeah, which is motivation, inspiration, like getting people pumped, because
Yeah.
I'm good at that.
Yeah.
And I love celebrating wins with people. And then I've got a you got 5 minutes, which is the let's identify something that's in your way and just make a plan for it. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's 5 minutes. We're not going to fix everything in 5 minutes, but we can become more aware. We can identify, we can make a plan. And then there's a forward moving 5 minutes, which is taking action.
Mm-hmm.
And I did one that's literally, I hear it because I wanted to address this. Another one of the phrases we hear all the time is like, don't quit.
Yeah.
You don't get anything from quitting. I saw Kevin Hart do some Instagram thing. Nothing comes from quitting. You do you, Kevin Hart, but I beg to differ. You can gain quite a bit if you quit something that is not serving you anymore.
Yeah. Say you set a goal
Yeah.
that you think is the be all end all for yourself, and or it's the thing that I really really want this. And you get halfway there and you start to look at it and you go, that seems like my own personal hell, but because I said it, I'm gonna get it.
Right, exactly. And then we've had this like this thumbs down on failure for a long time. And so
Yeah.
yes, it's okay to set a goal and work towards it and try it out for a bit and then reevaluate and see, did is this still what I want?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, let it go. Let it
Exactly.
go.
Like, get rid of that. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same thing of like, I mean, this is a cultural shift that I appreciate quite a bit, is that, uh, you don't have to stay in the same job that you got when you were 20 years old.
Yeah.
Like, that was such a foreign concept, even to my parents in a lot of ways,
Oh yeah.
of like, yeah, no, this is just what you do. Like, you find the job and you stick with it. You might maybe hop a company, but you found the career path and you do the career. Like,
Right.
to this point of like, I'm likely over exaggerating this a little bit, but um we were just talking about this morning in a staff meeting of my dad had this dream of owning chickens, whether he wanted to be a chicken farmer or not. I'm not totally clear on that one.
Okay.
He's in his late 60s, and this is the first time he's really said that.
Oh.
Yeah, and even my mom was like, "Really, chickens? Like, you didn't think to bring that up like years ago,
Yeah.
like when we met, maybe, or like you had a dream and you had a thing that you wanted and you squashed that because you thought, oh,
Yeah.
these are the things that I have to do to provide for a family. This is just my lot in life, and I'm gonna stay here until I retire, and then maybe do the thing that I really want to when I retire."
Yeah.
And like, for
Right.
me, there's nothing more foreign of a concept than that. Like, I've gone the opposite way.
Same.
And because I was
Same.
like, I've sat in um networking groups where you get the financial advisor bros, because they usually are bros,
Yeah.
where they're like, yeah, you got to be setting away X amount for your retirement. Like, really dream about what you want to do when you retire. And I was like, I'm doing that right now.
Yeah. What about now? What
Yeah.
about now?
Why don't I just do it now? Like,
Yeah.
find
What
a
do they
way.
what do they
Go ahead.
what do they say when you say that?
I haven't really brought it up because I was
Oh.
like, not really. They're presenting and I'm trying to be polite,
Oh,
and like,
gotcha.
but there's going to be a day where that's going to come through of like, question. What if I don't want to do that?
What if I want to do all of that now?
Yeah.
Let's talk about now.
What if I do this now and let retirement be something else?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Or like the idea too of the idea of retirement being so new.
Right.
Like, yes, I'm not saying that every person needs to stay in the workforce until they die. But it's like retiring to just do nothing. Like, there's only so many hours I can sit on a beach.
Same.
It's not that many, honestly. Before I'm gonna be like, well, I'm gonna make myself a new job.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other thing for me to unpack, and all of that stuff of like learning to relax and do things for myself. And ultimately, like, I see this in my dad specifically. He's like, yeah, I can't wait to retire. And I was like, you're gonna be back in the truck, driving truck, working
You're gonna be
in the
so
first 2 months. Yeah, like or you're gonna become a chicken farmer. Like, you're gonna find a new job for yourself one way or another. So why not just do that for as long as you want?
Yeah.
Right away.
Start now. That's the like, be more pirate / what I think is kind of weird about this conversation right now is because it is quote unquote against the status quo of what our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation have been told to do. it's different, it's weird, like
Mm-hmm.
they don't get it very much. I had a conversation with my mom. I love my mom, I have a great relationship with her, and she was asking me questions about, because I'm much more entrepreneurial than her.
Mm-hmm.
Same job, school administration, entire life, yeah, a couple of different schools. um and and she recently retired and she's loving it. She finds things to putz around with, so that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And she so she's asking me questions, and I'm like, she goes, but what if you need something to fall back on? Like, you'll go get a job if you need to. And I'm like, no, you're not hearing me.
I have a job.
I'm gonna I'm gonna like, I have all the agency, ability, and creativity to create the thing that I want. And I think that's something that's forgotten a lot,
Mm-hmm.
is like, you have the another podcast I did. You have so many choices. You
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of choices, but we get into this and so that was similarly the realization of, I can do all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've got a choice to go this way and that way. And yes, I can pick a couple and go down the road. And then there's this, I do get um the thought process of, like, don't half-ass two things, whole
Mm-hmm.
ass one thing. I get that.
Yeah.
And most of the time when I'm whole assing one thing, I'm putting that energy into it, and then I'll, like, okay, cool, that's been whole ass.
Yeah.
now I'm gonna pick another thing to whole ass for a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. So like, there's rules and there's principles and big old quotation marks, and you can break the rules, you can make up your own.
Yeah.
And that, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, is like, agency and creativity, and that's not valued enough.
Mm-hmm. Was that something? Is this so? You know, creating your own path like this, is that something that was inherently easy for you, or was that something that took a journey for yourself?
That was not easy. That did take a journey, and I'm still on it. I'm probably in the still like the first quarter to third of that journey ish.
Sure. If
I
if you don't mind, would you like spelling that out, sharing your story with us?
Yes, I can totally do that. Okay, so the journey of creating my own path, that's where we're
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
Um oh, there's been a lot more. And that being said, it was like, it was rocky at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I've found these upwards trending movements here. So I Where to start? Uh Graduated college, got, my education is in exercise science, hopped into some personal training, got a couple of other jobs. So this is back when I thought I had to pick a career, I had to pick a one thing to do and go at it.
Mm-hmm.
And even at that time, I knew I always wanted to stay, coaching and training.
Mm-hmm.
So I did in a number of different capacities as the years went on. But I thought that really what I had to do was main job, training job. And so that was my early 20s. I again, I was still training, but I know I worked at a chiropractic office for a bit, and then I managed a running shoe store for a bit. And those were fine, those were great. Um you learn a lot from those jobs like that.
Absolutely.
And but then my partner enlisted in the Navy, so he went off to boot camp, and I went over to not the East Coast, the West Coast. So I spent most of 2015 in Washington, putzing around, hanging out with my brother. I lived with my brother out there,
Mm-hmm.
and worked at a shoe store. It was enough to get by, and I coached at a gym for a free membership, because
Yeah.
that's what they were doing. I was like, sweet, just want to be part of the gym. I'm happy to coach a couple classes.
Yep.
um
Been there, done
and
that.
yep,
Yep.
yep. I'm happy to also, on another note, see that trend is going down,
Yes.
because
Same.
we deserve to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point I was like, that's cool, it's my side gig. I got a regular gig, I got a side gig.
Yeah.
But anyway, putzed around in Washington. That was cool. Developed like I've always wanted to be a part of a community and create things for the community, and I got a chance to do that. Did some like mobility for runners classes,
Mm-hmm.
which was cool. And so I've always been creating things, and all that time it was the second thought, not the first thought.
Sure.
And then my partner finishes boot camp, finishes training. We moved down to California, Ventura County area. And um, from the beginning of living in California to the end was a big flail of sorts. Of like, I know I want to coach. I can try to, and then like the running shoe gig was not the same down there, so I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get the same. Like I was like, I'll again, let me find a main gig and then I'll coach for my side gig. Um, that that didn't work out very well because the running stores were weirdly few and far between, at least in the
Interesting.
spot where we were at. Um, and I wanted to work for a local one rather than one of the franchises. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
not important. So I start looking around for gyms to work at. I find a gym within a year or less, maybe more like 8 months, they close. It was a
Okay.
small gym.
Like
The
just getting
owner wanted
started and
to move on, and
okay.
he was like, I'm done. I was like,
Yeah.
we're like, okay. So I
Mm-hmm.
found another gym. The second gym I went to was, we had been there a couple of times and it was our second choice to go to.
Sure.
And it was fine for a while. And then, so that was an experience where I didn't know how to stand up for myself and um, ask to be paid for the work that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was frustrating. So I ended up leaving that gym. That gym is under new ownership now and is doing great. But when I was at it, the ownership was, I clashed a lot with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I moved on from that gym and got a safety job at a chiropractic clinic, which also did not value my knowledge and skills for what I had.
Mm-hmm.
It was the job that I had was like front desk assistant or like scheduler. Ask me what I am, Jeremy.
What are you, April?
Not a front desk assistant.
Not a clerical paper pusher.
Nope. Nope. Not a cold caller for, are you going to come to our lunch and learn?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because I would do that and get so many, we didn't give you our number. Like we like get up, take us off your, ugh, anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, and, and, and the doc there would always say like, we got so lucky to get you. You've got your bachelor's degree, you've all this stuff. I'm like, great, pay me more.
Yeah. Or like use my skills at least.
Yeah, let me do more for your patients then, because
Mm-hmm.
I've done stuff like this before. And it was very rare that he pulled me into help. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
show them this stretch, but like it was once a week or less
Sure.
that he did that. So that was frustrating. And I still tried to coach a little bit, so we found another gym to go
Mm-hmm.
to after we left that one, and that was a too many cooks in the kitchen situation, which also closed.
Mm-hmm.
Move on to another gym. So this entire time, I'm just I'm literally trying to survive on trying to do what I really want to do, which is coach, but thinking I need to have a main gig to support that.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this case, it was definitely competing with, they were each competing with each other.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to work on like doing things, because I also thought so in the same sense of like, I thought I had to have a main gig. Thought I had to have someone paying me to do a job. I also thought that I had to be part of a gym that would find clients for me and send
Mm-hmm.
me work and pay me to be part of it. I didn't realize that I could, and I don't know why I didn't realize this, but I didn't at the time.
You just go do your own thing.
Exactly. I didn't realize I could do that.
Yeah.
And so So that's 3 gyms that I've been through at this point, and I get to another small Globo gym and just start doing some personal training again after I did the strong coach program, which
Mm-hmm.
Mike Bledsoe started.
Yeah, I
And
just saw him in Austin. So
oh, nice.
yep,
Cool.
hung out in the hot tub after the retreat, and
Sweet.
saw him the next morning at his place. And yeah,
Uh-huh. Right on. How's he doing?
it seems to be doing very well.
Sweet. Good
Yeah.
deal. Good deal. So yeah, I did Bledsoe's strong coach program, the beta version. It was
Mm-hmm.
8 weeks. And he was using it for market research essentially
Mm-hmm.
to build out his strong coach program, which now has a number of things going on, I believe. And that was the first time I was introduced to why our words and language are important in our heads,
Mm-hmm.
and which is Enlifted work is what it is. And
Yeah.
um and because what he did is he had me make a start stop continue list, which I love. This is a fun tool for anyone out there.
Mm-hmm.
It goes along with what we were saying earlier. What are the things that you want to start doing to get you closer to your goals? What are the things you want to stop doing that are in your way? Stop doing them. And what are the things you're already working that you can continue to do? So he had
Mm-hmm.
me do that. And one of the things that, so at this point, I'm working at the chiropractor and nothing else.
Okay.
I'm bored. And I am I'm in the strong coach, and I was like, I want to stop being afraid to take risks. Stop it. That was on my stop list.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, why don't you say this instead? My life is full of opportunity. I never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Never. I never even considered making a switch like that. And guess how many opportunities I had in the next 2 weeks?
As many as you wanted.
Exactly. I don't remember the exact number, but now I'm seeing opportunities of all kinds of different things. And like, so this was like the first realization I had of my agency
Mm-hmm.
over my life. I don't have to follow this path. I can say, I can go do something else. There's all these opportunities. I could take that one or this one or whatever. So, and side note, at this time, I was part of a travel MLM.
Okay.
I'm not anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. When I started it, I thought it was a good idea, but
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sold on it.
You weren't
I was
attached to the whole thing. You were more attached to like this could be an income opportunity without having to do a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that's how they sell it to you.
Exactly.
So I was like, and plus it was travel, and I was like, that's fun. It'd be fun to travel.
Yeah.
So like that was another. Honestly, like I'm not doing it anymore because I'm gonna use a negation here. I can't sell what I don't believe in.
Mm-hmm.
I can sell what I do believe in.
Mm-hmm.
So I was having a pretty hard time trying to build my business
Yeah.
with that MLM.
Build somebody else's business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Probably.
We have a saying around here of if the path seems really clear to you, it's likely somebody else's path.
Yep. And I could get on another soapbox, but I won't. But
Save that one for another time.
yeah. But that being said, what I learned from doing that MLM was that I can also have my own business. I can
Mm-hmm.
do my own thing. That was my introduction into entrepreneurship, honestly, because they talk about that a whole lot. You're an entrepreneur, you're a travelpreneur, or whatever.
Yeah.
You put whatever word in front of preneur, the suffix preneur, and make it a whatever.
Make it a new buzzword.
Right. Fit, whatever. Ugh.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm all for making new words,
Mm-hmm.
but that's annoying. So as I'm in California, bouncing around, flailing around, I start learning from Bledsoe, and I start because I'm at this point I'm a frustrated fitness coach, not coaching with 0
Mm-hmm.
clients, and trying to figure out what in the world I want. And so like I the MLM taught me that I can be a business person. I can be an entrepreneur of sorts. But that path of entrepreneurship was not what I wanted. So in doing some really simple, basic reflection and just being encouraged to do so was the next domino to fall over of okay. So one, understanding power of words in my head, I can go from risk to opportunity. Two, I know I can be an entrepreneur even if I'm failing at it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Three, I haven't even stopped to think and consider what I want yet. So
Mm-hmm.
how in the world am I going to create it? And so it was the that's why I like goal setting. That's why I really like helping people with that and just getting clear on like what is it that you really want.
Or have you even taken the time to allow yourself that space to dream? Like, I'm
Yeah.
sure you've had this experience, but with clients as well, of like,
Uh-huh.
I just want to lose the 10 pounds. It's like,
Yeah.
but is that actually what you want?
Yeah.
Like, what's the
Right.
what does your life actually look like when you have that 10 pounds? Like, is that
Uh-huh.
actually what you're looking for? Or is it
Yeah.
truly a number on the scale?
Right. Right.
Or,
And the answer can be yes to all of it.
yes,
Yeah, you
absolutely.
can want to lose that 10 pounds. And like what are you gonna get out of it? How will your
Mm-hmm.
life be different? And the thing that I still run into it sometimes, but I don't know, like getting it can be challenging to get people to think that deeply
Yes.
about stuff.
Well, our culture doesn't value it as much. They're
No.
like very single minded. The things that we've already talked about
Yeah.
of get your go to school. School's going to tell you the way that you're going to act and be, and who you're
Uh-huh.
going, like, you discover yourself in college or whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
And then you're going to discover what your career is. I was like, newsflash, folks, I studied music in college, and now I'm in the health and wellness space. Like,
Yeah.
and in between that, I worked in retail management. I worked for nonprofits, and I was an engineer, like
Yeah.
a tech engineer. Like, I've very easily shown that, like, you're not going to figure it out when you're 21 years old.
No. No. Nor should you have to know what you're gonna do for the next 50 years. I just hit
And
my
make
mic,
that,
sorry.
it's all good.
Yeah, make one choice for the
This is
next
it.
6 years. Can't stray from it. And yeah, I did, like, if I reflect on it, I did always know that I didn't want to do that. That path didn't feel fun, simple, or easy, or like going down that path
Fulfilling.
fulfilling. Yes. I look down that path and I see a bunch of shit in my way.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I look down this path of like again figuring out what I want and creating it. And by the way, the things that I've wanted over the last 5 years since I started doing this changed a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I am I am someone that has lots of ideas. I have all the ideas. And so now what I'm working on is action towards them and like figuring out what I get to do to create them. Um a fun idea that I just came up with that I like a lot, and this it's gonna take some finagling and research,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a goal that I do see a little bit further out. It's all right.
Put it out in the world.
Yeah, yeah. So
Happens.
cast the spell, right?
Yeah.
Um, Harry Potter style. So okay, so here's my little joke about it. Um, Jeremy, you know what kind of tea I really like?
What kind of tea do you like?
Positivity.
A.
Right? I also like equality.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a tea company
Well, there you go.
that that I can there's a couple things I want to do with it. Tea is great. I love tea. Tea is the vehicle for this
Yeah.
all. I'm drinking some tea as we're chatting here. Um, but like the tea company combined with some of that self development type stuff that we've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So like the idea I see in my head is like someone pours a cup of tea and sits down and has this little self ritual of pour a cup of tea, do some reflections, learn and get to know myself, move on.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea. And then similarly, So I'm going to have a line of teas that is, um, where's my, I've got a Google Doc already trying to
Wow.
organize my
That's
brain
awesome.
on this. And, tea company idea. So the, okay, so positivity,
Mm-hmm.
creativity, curiosity, reality.
Yeah.
That one will have caffeine in it.
There you go.
Um, and then so that's like a normal line of teas. And
Yeah.
then there's another line of teas that is um let's see here. Diversity, equality, responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So with this line of teas, I'm going to connect them to certain causes, nonprofits, etc. And so like partial proceeds will go to this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've also been thinking about what it would be like to include causes in what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going in that direction. Um, and then whatever other pun I can make out of tea.
Yeah. Pull it
um,
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was a jump forward. But anyway, long story. That wasn't a short story at all. Long story continuing
Mm-hmm.
uh is I but it was really about 5 years ago when I started, really when I did the first goal setting in the strong coach, that I first of all learned what I wanted, and then second of all learned that I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there I still had to shed a few beliefs of it has to be this one way. But a really big opportunity that I took after I did the strong coach was I went down to San Diego to coach at Danny Rios's gym at the time,
Mm-hmm.
um, because it was an opportunity where I could be coaching full time. Now we lived an hour north of LA, so I would drive weekly from LA down to San Diego for almost the entire time that my husband was home ported.
Okay.
So like I saw him on the weekends.
So just driving back and forth and
Yeah,
doing the
I'd drive.
grind.
Yeah. And it was fine. Like it was worth it for a number of reasons, because that's also where I met Mark England
Mm-hmm.
and got deeper into um all of the things that we've done in Enlifted. And uh that was a huge part of now what I'm doing. And the more I utilize those tools, the more I get to find the things I get to shed and the things that are not mine, and then also which then makes room for so much more of what I know I can do and what I know I can create. And I think that's most of the journey
All right.
up until this current point.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you
Um,
for listening.
yeah. Any other big takeaways from that journey that you want to share with the audience?
um Big takeaways from my journey.
What if you had to sum it all up into one lesson
Into
that you
one
would
lesson.
like that you would like to share with the world? Well, how would you sum that up?
um the first thing that came to my another thing I okay. My brain. So, okay, another weird thing, my brain goes in lots of different directions
Mm-hmm.
at one time. The first thing that came to my mind is keep checking in with yourself. Like keep checking in with yourself. You're the one that has access to you the most. So if you can learn that skill to check in with yourself, and simple questions like, is this what I want? How can I find what I want? Am I going in the direction that I want? Like what you
Is
want
this serving
matters.
me?
Yes, is this serving me? What you
Yeah.
want matters. In lots of ways.
I've been holding on to this broken vase. Do I actually want to keep this broken vase anymore?
Yeah, it's the Marie Kondo of of like personal development.
Yeah, exactly.
Does this bring me joy? Yes or no?
Exactly.
No.
Or like I
Um,
noticed that I always do this in this situation. Is that actually helpful? Do I want to keep
yes.
doing that?
And that is such that Jeremy, I mean, I'm sure you've been there too. Like that is such a punch in the face
Oh yeah.
when you realize like, oh, I've been doing that.
Yeah, or
And
for me, it's always been the ones where somebody reflects something at you that they may have been doing for a good amount of time, but you
yeah.
only now are ready to see it or hear it, and then you go,
Yeah.
"Ah, God, I'm an asshole."
No.
And then like, or like, "Ah, I can't believe why has nobody ever told me that I do this?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe, like, I thought it was, or like, for me a lot of times too, especially being on this journey, like for me it's still new, folks, like
Yeah.
especially the like
Yeah.
the self development was all physical for me before, aside from
Really.
education,
Yeah.
or like work experience.
Uh-huh.
But getting into the words stories, the
Yeah.
working in versus working out
Yep.
journey, there are times where you're like, oh, I did the work, like I
Uh-huh.
did the thing, I did the big scary thing, and like
Yeah.
I conquered that demon. Then you go, I still have more to do.
Yep.
And the first time that pops up, it can be very defeating.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. For the first time I did Evil Inner Workout Buddy,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, sweet, I'm fixed.
Yeah. Everything looks different in the world, and yeah, spring in your step, and then you trip over
Yep.
the next crack, and you go, oh,
Damn it. Yep. And then
I
it
only got
turned
the
out
tip of it.
I don't even want to look beneath the surface yet.
Yeah.
Even because I thought I did, but then yeah, because then it turned into Evil Inner Entrepreneurial Voice.
Uh-huh.
And then I also noticed Evil Inner Workout Buddy show up for me again recently, and I was like, oh, I
That we took
thought I
care
had
of you.
put you in the corner.
How'd you get out of your cage?
Yeah, exactly. And it was as much in a okay, I'll share it with you. It was the if I'm not stronger or better at certain skills than the people I'm coaching, why would they trust me to coach them?
Oh, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that bit of self-doubt. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. My
I,
journey and what my fitness is distinct from my coaching abilities.
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna toot my own horn. I'm a good coach. I can and being a good coach can like that's a skill set, and being like I'm on my own fitness journey, so my own fitness journey is this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's again, that's distinct from, do I gain a lot of perspective, experience, knowledge from my own journey? Yep. I can still help people with a slightly different journey if they're on it.
Yeah.
So that voice popped up and I was like, fine. Let me dig into you for a minute. Okay. All right, cool. Go back in the corner.
Yeah. Go back to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. And that's also why I like the idea of becoming friends with your demons or your monsters. Because,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some monsters are really cool.
Yeah.
I like monsters. I wish I could fly. I wish I was a dragon. Like, those are some weird parts about me.
That's all
I've
good.
got strong, right?
I got a whole dragon story, but like there's another component of this making friends with your inner demons aspect,
Yeah.
that I worked with another Enlifted coach,
Okay.
that she brought forward for me of like, um we have the evil inner workout partner. But we also have these other selves of like a scarcity self and an abundance self.
Yep.
We went through that in a very similar fashion,
Yep.
using some different techniques of like embodying that person, like role playing as that scarcity self and as
Oh.
that abundance self. Giving away all of her tricks right now. I'm sure she'll
I
be
see
fine.
it though. That's
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
but like being able to look at those things and like, well, yeah, it'd be great to be in this state of abundance or this state of like feeling awesome and amazing all the time.
Yeah.
But like life doesn't happen in the whites and the blacks. It happens in the grays. Like
Mhm.
100% light and bright is blinding and you can't see anything.
Yep.
Just as 100% darkness, you can't see anything either.
Yeah.
So we
Yep.
have to have these balances and being able to balance the needs of the scarcity self and the needs of the abundance self of like,
Yeah.
what is actually at play here, and balance
Right.
these two things out in the best way possible.
Yeah. And sometimes it's important to listen to a scarcity self
Uh-huh.
or an evil inner workout buddy. They're telling you something. And
Exactly.
And if all you're doing is, so this is a cool thing to get into now. If all you're doing is trying to blind your shadows,
Uh-huh.
right? If you're trying to blind your shadows and block them out completely, you're not going to hear important messages that they're trying to tell you. And it
Mm-hmm.
sucks to hear sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
that can be a reality check. And so that's another aspect of, and so I see this more in kind of personal development and spiritual and self-development
Mm-hmm.
types of circles of just positivity only, just be
Yeah.
positive
Only
all the
good
time.
vibes.
Yes, good vibes
No,
only, exactly.
that's a caustic thought.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
well, because it's binary, and we just
Yes.
talked about like things aren't very, 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 very few things are truly binary,
Yeah. Binary
except for
code.
zeros and ones. Yeah, yeah, yep, yep. I figured that
Electrical
too.
impulses. That's
Yeah,
it.
on and off. Yeah, not even like a light bulb all the time. It's,
Yeah.
sometimes it flickers. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so to only see the positive and just focus on it still keeps our vision so narrow.
Mm-hmm.
And again, these are the types of things that take work and courage, and like, just like I do. And there's a lot of different tools for that. Like, we've got some cool tools of story work and language work. I highly recommend therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy is great for that. I'm sure there are many other tools in there
Yeah,
too.
there's as many modalities and possibilities as you can imagine. Like, and
Yeah.
you know, that's for me was another area of parts of this journey too. Of like,
Mhm.
well, therapy is the only choice, or
Right.
like I have like it's therapy or nothing. It was like a
Right.
binary there that I've not created for myself. I've not allowed myself to explore
Okay.
that like self-development can take many forms. It doesn't necessarily
Yes.
have to be a self-help book that makes me examine my relationship with my mother and cry in a corner by myself, or like whatever visions people have of what
Yeah.
self-development can be.
Yep.
Like, there's a lot out there, folks.
There's a ton out there, and you have all the choice and agency in the world to do that. And if there's, so on that note too, like, I on the story work and lifted work that I do, like, one of my goals for people is to help them realize how much choice and agency they truly have.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's I'm a big fan. Like, I've been fortunate to, make choices and find communities where I've been able to do a lot of very therapeutic things without traditional therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, that's my journey. That being said, therapy works really well for some people, not as well for others. There's
Mm-hmm.
more ideas and choices that you can go do. Um, and the other thing is, that's why I said as well, keep checking in with yourself. Like, that's a valuable practice so that you know if it is the right choice for you or not. And so I think I was going to come to this a little bit earlier, but another thing that I've learned to pay attention to through all of this is, um, it was the realization of I can do all the things, and that I can follow a path that feels good. It doesn't have to be a path that doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say there won't be challenges, because like, I'm good with a challenge. Like, show
Yeah.
me a challenge. Like, let me see if I can figure it out. Um, but also,
If it's challenging and it's not in alignment with where you want to be, or it doesn't feel fulfilling,
right, that's
yeah.
different. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, yeah. Keep checking in with yourself.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We can might drop it there. Or any final thoughts before
Mic
we
drop.
call it good?
I don't know. We talked mostly about we talked about weird stuff. We talked
Yeah.
about strong stuff, mostly in the idea of kind of journeys and minds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm I'm looking for, so another just to share a little bit of what I'm doing these days, where I'm at. I On the path of like a big big fuck you to the fitness industry. I want to now work with women and people. Like, I think I say women first because again, I think it comes up for a lot of women, but also anyone else who wants help, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who want to be strong.
Yeah.
Like, because not every person's goal is to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing that's been shoved down our throats in the fitness industry a lot. It's like losing weight, health in general too. See, here I am on a soapbox again. um, like anyway, so my goals, another bit of my goals in the fitness space is to work with people who want to get strong, and specifically people who've never done it before. I
Yeah.
want to work with beginners. I want to show you that what I want to help you find what strength means to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then yes, I'm going to sprinkle in some Enlifted techniques and stuff too for
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But we'll get into the gym, show you how it's safe to lift weights, show you that you're not going to get bulky.
Yeah. We just
And
had that conversation on the Ice House podcast
oh,
today
nice.
of like that being a common thing where
Yeah.
like, well, I don't want to, if I touch a dumbbell, I'm going to grow muscles and like I'm going to be too big and too bulky. And it's like, yeah, can you show me what you mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they'll show you like a mass monster bodybuilder. You're like,
Schwarzenegger.
that's gonna take you 20 years and a lot of drugs to get to that point. So
Yep.
no worries.
Yep. Exactly. And that's a good thing to do too, is just ask them why
When
is
you
that
say
a fear for
bulky,
you?
when
Well,
you say
that
bulky, what do you mean?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
show me what that looks like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you know.
So and then similarly, okay, as soon as you start to get bulky, we'll stop.
Yeah.
There we go.
Game on.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I want to work with people. I want to work with people and women who want to start getting strong, start weightlifting. Well, you're already strong, but like start
Mhm.
weightlifting, building some muscle, and develop the mindset to match it.
Mhm.
And then yeah, working on having fun with my podcast, doing some more artwork stuff,
Awesome.
loving it.
Fantastic. Where can people find you? Like, where can they get more of April Flaten?
Oh, so my podcast is called 5 Minutes of Awesome. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And also, I would love to nudge everybody over to my Buy Me a Coffee page,
All right.
because that's going to have permanent permanent episodes of the podcast up there, plus a number of other resources and artwork and all kinds of stuff, fun stuff on there. So my Buy Me a Coffee page can we link it?
Yeah, we can put it in the show notes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
And then if you want to check out what I'm doing, my Instagram is at Get Your Muscle On.
Awesome.
Yeah, podcast, Buy Me a Coffee, Instagram.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for being on this episode. Thanks for being weird and strong, April.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
I love having weird conversations and being friends with weird people, so I appreciate you.
Likewise. And thank you all for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.